Welcome to the Plan B CRNA podcast. I'm your host, Bobby Jones, and I'm so excited that you're here. The Plan B CRNA podcast is the only show made specifically for nurse anesthetists who are exploring options outside of their traditional career paths. This is the place to expand your mind and your goals as we uncover new ways to produce side income together. The mindset that we bring to any situation plays a key part in overcoming challenges and really enjoying our unique paths in life. On Thoughtful Thursdays, I like to explore emotional topics that are relevant to CRNAs and other providers. I think of this as my therapy, and I hope you learn some tips and tricks that you can use along your own journey. This episode is brought to you by On-Call Capital. On-Call Capital is dedicated to educating CRNAs and other healthcare providers about investing outside of the traditional stock market. On-Call Capital also provides opportunities for you, yes you, to create passive income and generational wealth while also lowering your taxable income through investments in the apartment and alternative investment spaces. If you haven't hit subscribe yet, make sure you do that right now so that you don't miss an episode. Thanks so much for joining me today, and now on with the show. Welcome to Thoughtful Thursdays on the Plan B CRNA podcast. I'm your host, Bobby Jones, and as always, I like to start these episodes off with a quote that gets me thinking. And today's quote is actually from a song in the 1970s movie Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory. When the kids initially walk into the room where everything is edible with licorice and gummy bears on the chocolate river in Willy Wonka's factory, Gene Wilder's character, Willy Wonka, sings in kind of a melancholy tone. If you want to view paradise, simply look around and view it. Anything you want to do it. Want to change the world? There's nothing to it. There is no life I know to compare with pure imagination. Living there, you'll be free if you truly wish to be. Now, I just picked up my kids about a week and a half ago to have them with me for the rest of the summer. And I've had this sudden infusion of imagination back in my life. Seeing the world through their eyes opens mine back up. And I mean, they gobble up books and they love to share stories. So it's really pretty neat to be around. And these words by Willy Wonka remind me of the limitless possibilities of imagination. In our busy adult lives, we often lose touch with our childlike wonder and creativity. But the truth is, we all possess the gift of imagination, and it may be time to embrace it more fully. Children are really the embodiment of boundless imagination. I mean, they see dragons in the clouds and explore magical worlds by building forts in the backyard, and their toys become characters in intricate narratives. So how can we as adults recapture that childlike imagination for ourselves? Well, it's helpful to reconnect with our curiosity. Children are naturally curious. They question everything around them. So embrace your curiosity and never stop asking those what if questions. I mean, I always felt more imaginative when I was in school because we were encouraged to ask questions and seek to understand the subjects that we study. Once we get into our working lives, it can be easy to slip into the comfortable. But asking questions is super important in expanding the boundaries of our imaginations. Next, you can give yourself permission to play. This can be really challenging for us, as play can often feel like a waste of time when we have all of these other responsibilities to tend to. But playfulness is a gateway to imagination. If you can find activities that spark joy and allow your mind to wander freely, you'll begin to see your imagination flourish. And a final suggestion here is to be open to daydreaming. Let your mind drift off into the realms of different possibilities. Daydreams can lead to unexpected insights and creative solutions. Now, I'm not saying to do this while you're working. I mean, our patients do depend on our vigilance after all, but there are ways to incorporate this into your morning and evening routines, as well as break times in the middle of the day. Now, balancing our adult responsibilities with a childlike mindset might seem challenging, but if nurturing our imaginations is the actual goal, then we have to work on it. And chances are, we've been more focused on adulting, so the pendulum has swung too far in one direction. So how do we bring things back into balance between our adult and childlike mindsets? Well, here are some tips. You can practice mindfulness. A large part of a child's imagination comes from being in the moment. Being present in the moment helps us to let go of those adult worries and allow our minds to explore more freely. Next, you can surround yourself with imaginative influences. Read books, watch movies, and engage in activities that stimulate your creativity. I mean, have you ever taken a painting class or picked up a guitar? I marveled at a local open mic night when I talked to one of the musicians. His name is Dan, and he is about a decade older than me, playing the guitar and singing music that he had actually written himself. And I just assumed that he had been playing guitar, since he was in his teens or 20s. But it turns out that he first picked up a guitar only 5 years ago. And he started learning alongside a friend. And this influence was crucial as they kept each other going for the first few years. But after his friend decided to stop, Dan decided to keep going. And because he gained confidence through playing his guitar, it also gave him the confidence to put pen to paper and write his own songs. Now, next, we can also learn to embrace failure. As a child, I know that I was less afraid of failure than I became as an adult. And why is that? Well, failure is how we learn, and we have to learn so much in our early years. Then we become adults. We begin to shy away from failure, which hinders our creativity because we feel like we've got more to lose. But embracing mistakes, those are stepping stones to innovation. And this can be hard for those of us in healthcare where mistakes are often seen as signs of weakness or inability. But in order to embrace failure, we also have to learn how to show ourselves some grace in there. And then lastly, hey, sharing your imagination with others. Collaborating with like minded individuals can help spark new ideas and expand the boundaries of what's possible. Let's go back to Dan playing on open mic night. He doesn't just stay at home with his guitar, he's bravely going out into the world and sharing his new passion with others. His desire to share his experiences has been beneficial for him and others alike. Now, embracing our imagination isn't just about having fun, it also brings numerous benefits to our daily lives. So, firstly, imagination enhances problem solving skills. When we think creatively, we can approach challenges from unique angles, leading to innovative solutions. I hardly think that medicine would have advanced so far without creative minds taking the time to use their imagination to find solutions to problems. Secondly, imagination reduces stress and anxiety. Immersing ourselves in imaginative worlds can provide an escape from the pressures of reality. And I know I feel more relaxed when I'm immersing myself in science fiction. So that's something that works for me. You might find something else that works for you. Thirdly, imagination fosters empathy and understanding. By imagining ourselves in others' shoes, we become more compassionate and open minded. And I personally think that the world could use a bit more of that. Fourthly, imagination enhances communication skills. Creative storytelling and vivid descriptions captivate listeners, and ideas become more compelling. I can see my kids getting better at this all the time. And then finally, imagination fuels inspiration. Many scientific discoveries, artworks, and inventions were born from someone's imaginative vision. I mean, we can fly to space, we can harness the power of the wind and the sun, we can cure diseases, guys. I mean, it took creativity to get there. Now, we can understand the significance of imagination in our lives, but what are some practical tips to actually incorporate it into our daily routine? Well, here are a few. You can keep a journal. Write down your ideas, daydreams, and any sparks of creativity that come your way. Journaling helps us organize our thoughts and encourages further exploration. And it helps to make this a daily or weekly habit. And there are plenty of guided journals out there for you to choose from. You can doodle and draw. Even if you're not an artist or you think you're not an artist, doodling and drawing can be incredibly liberating. Let your pen wander on paper without judging what it is you're actually drawing. You may be surprised at what you find. You can also practice mind mapping. Using mind maps to visually connect ideas and concepts. I mean, I've heard that it's a great way to stimulate creative thinking and problem solving. I don't personally have much experience with them, but there are several sites like mural.co and mindmapping.com that can help you to get started with tutorials and suggestions. You can engage in playtime. Dedicate regular time to play, whether it's with games, puzzles, or other creative activities. Allow yourself to be fully present in those moments. And finally, you can join a creative group. Surround yourself with imaginative individuals by joining a writing group, an improv class, or any community that fosters creativity. Now, embracing our imaginations can be a gateway to a world of infinite possibilities. By cultivating a childlike mindset and finding flexibility between our adult responsibilities and our imagination, we can unlock creativity and innovation in our everyday lives. So, are you ready to embark on your imagination journey? Look around, view paradise, and explore the boundless landscape of pure imagination? Remember, there's nothing to it. And if you truly wish to be free, just let your imagination take flight. As always, we have some additional resources in the show notes for you to check out and aid in your journey. You can also check out the following books: Lost Knowledge of the Imagination by Gary Lachman. The author notes that since the emergence of science as the dominant worldview in the 17th century, imagination has actually become marginalized, depicted as a way of escaping reality rather than knowing it more profoundly. He argues that for the sake of our future in the world, we must reclaim the ability to imagine and redress the balance of influence between imagination and science. The Creative Spark: How Imagination Made Humans Exceptional by Agustin Fuentes, PhD. This author believes that creativity is the secret of what makes humans special, and that in order to make something lasting and useful today, we should understand the nature of our own collaboration with others, what imagination can and can't accomplish, and just how completely our creativity is responsible for the world that we live in. And finally, The Power of Imagination: The Neville Goddard Treasury by Neville. This is an anthology of the greatest writings of modern mystic Neville Goddard, who has enthralled readers with his simple but radical principle that your imagination is God. Admittedly, this one is a bit out there and it mixes a lot of spiritual and religious applications, but it's definitely imaginative. And that's going to do it for today's show. Make sure that you check out the show notes for helpful links. And if you enjoyed what you heard, make sure you hit subscribe and leave us with a 5-star review. I'd also love to hear what you thought of the show, so you can put that right in your review of the show. If you're interested in passive income opportunities with tax advantage real estate, visit my website at www.oncallinvestments.com or reach out to me on Facebook, LinkedIn, or Instagram. This is Bobby Jones signing off. Till next time, stay safe and take care of each other out there. Thank you so much for joining me for another episode of the Plan B CRNA podcast. If you haven't already subscribed and reviewed the show, I'd be honored if you took the extra time. It really helps to expand our reach and get the word out about the show. If you're a CRNA who is interested in sharing your story on our podcast, I'd love to have you. Please email me at bobby@oncallinvestments.com for more information. This episode was brought to you by On-Call Capital. They are dedicated to helping providers like you develop passive income and generational wealth through investments in the apartment and alternative investment spaces. Feel free to check out their website at www.oncallinvestments.com and subscribe to their free educational email series. You can find On-Call Capital on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. You can also check out our YouTube page, where you'll find all of the show episodes along with other educational videos. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you on the next episode.